In 1986, Ford shocked the world with their revolutionary Ford Taurus. This is a 1988 Ford Taurus sedan, and this is a 1991 Ford Taurus wagon. It had a new aerodynamic shape. It had a V6 that actually made over 100 horsepower. And so today we're going to be taking a look at both of these and seeing just how revolutionary it was back in 1986. We'll start off under the hood. Both cars in today's video have a 3-liter Vulcan V6. It was good for about 140 horsepower. They did offer a 2.5-liter inline 4, however, it wasn't a very popular pick and they ended up dropping it by 91. Now, you might be thinking 140 horsepower out of a 3.0-liter V6 isn't that much. However, you do have to remember that this came during the oil crisis, or right at the end of the oil crisis. And so, earlier in 1982, the Ford LTD had a 4.9-liter V8 and was making 5 less horsepower than this. So this was a pretty cutting-edge engine for the decade. Moving on to the interior, this is the 1988 sedan, and the first thing you notice, of course, is a lot of brown. But beyond the brown, title of my memoir, the biggest thing that stands out to me with the first generation Taurus is the simplicity of the interior. Everything has its own designated spot, its own dial, its own knob. We do get a digital clock, we get cruise control, we get power windows. All wasn't necessarily standard in the 1980s the Taurus had. This is a pretty nice car to have. The interior of the wagon has 2 big differences. First of all, it's burgundy. It's burgundy. This is a red interior, and I love this era of Taurus offering a red interior. So now I'm gonna flip back and forth between a couple of differences. The climate controls themselves are different. The gauge cluster is different. The door card is different, although the buttons are the same. The door card is in fact different between the two. The radio and location is different. The 1988 has no cup holders, while the 1991 has pull-out cup holders. Little differences like that that just made the Taurus a little bit better over time. Now, the sedan is great and all, but if I want to carry more than 5 people, I'm kind of at an awkward spot. However, Ford fixed that. When switching up to the wagon, you did get 2 more seats in the form of a 3rd row rear-facing bench. Now, you can fold these down into the floor and hide them away, but if you had to carry more than 5 people, this was their solution, and so this was a huge advantage of the wagon. This took over as the family vehicle, where the sedan, yeah, you could fit some people, but this was really the family hauler. And so this is just something so special and so fun from this era, and a huge, huge, huge benefit for the wagon. Exterior-wise, you'll notice that both cars are very, very similar, although there was a minor facelift for the 1989 model year. So you'll notice on the brown car, it has a little bit smaller of a grille and a little bit different headlights than the white wagon. However, honestly, the exterior is minimal. Now, this was pretty groundbreaking for its release year of 1986. Most cars looked like this or this or this in 1986. Well, Ford broke the mold and designed an aerodynamic, modern, futuristic-looking sedan. So much so that it was actually used in Back to the Future and RoboCop, films both made in the era, as futuristic vehicles with minimal modifications to make them look futuristic. That's how cutting-edge the look of these cars were. Now, as you might have guessed, both cars drive in an extremely similar way. You do notice a little bit more weight with the wagon. However, that actually makes the wagon ride just a little bit nicer than the sedan. It has a little bit more weight over it, and it has a little bit more of a cushy ride. Now, it's hard to really judge both of these on how well they drive since they're both nearing 40 years old. However, it's nice and it's a good time. Now, I won't be drag racing the two here today because the brown sedan hasn't seen the road since 2008. It still has its 2008 tires, its 2008 oil, 2008 coolant, and that's if it was even up to date when it was pulled off the road. The sticker on the windshield is saying it should be changed on the 6th of January 2008, and I'm not sure it ever made it to that, so it's probably been off the road since 2007. The first generation Ford Taurus was nothing short of groundbreaking, and so I hope today's video was able to show you some of the differences that it had throughout its run, as well as how great this vehicle is. As I end all my comparison videos, if you had the opportunity to have one of these given to you brand new, 0 miles, dropped off to your house for free, which one would you take? And honestly, for me, it's not the brown one, it's the white wagon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ted for letting me borrow both of his Ford Tauruses for today's comparison, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.